My name is Garfield Morgan, originally from Kingston, Jamaica. I now live here in Edmonton. I work mostly with recycled material. Previously, I worked a lot with acrylic, but these days I've learned to paint in oil and I'm rather enjoying that. So I'm now combining found material, used fabric, used materials generally, along with oil paint, and I'm having fun doing that. Okay, so the title of that show is What Lies Beneath. And most of what I've done is I've used fabric for the most part as an underlay for the oil paintings that I've done on top. And it's mostly about people, mostly black people. And it's really partly to disrupt the negative stereotypes and the narrative that, ensues most times in media about black people. And really to see the innate value in people, to not just look at people because of their skin tone, but to look deeper, because we all are good people beneath, however we appear on top. Most of the materials that I use are what's called throwaway. And as I've said before, the material is a metaphor for the people, especially with regards to the work I'm doing for the residency. I'm using the clothes in a way that when the viewer looks at it, he sees the clothes. And part of that is to use an everyday item that people are used to seeing in my art. And so the average person, the ordinary person, will see that and be curious. Isn't that a shirt? Isn't that a trousers? Is that art? So he becomes a part of that conversation, and it basically, for me, removes the mystique of art, because for the so-called ordinary person who's not exposed to art, somehow these white walls scare them. So if that's one way for me to break it down and say, listen, this is something you can relate to. This is something you should be a part of. This is something you are a part of. So by using materials in their raw, it stimulates an interest, hopefully, in not just the art aficionado, but the average person. And that sense of texture, I think, gives it a sense of immediacy and relatability. As long as they don't ignore the work, I'm fine. Meaning, if it's a negative, however the response is, I'm fine with it. As long as the work is not ignored. That's basically my thing. Just don't ignore the work. Either be turned off or be turned on, be stimulated, be not stimulated, but don't ignore it. As long as you don't ignore it, I'm fine. I have to give a big shout out to the Goodwill Impact Center. As it stands now, I am actually the artist in residence at Harcourt House for 2023-2024. And the project that I'm doing involves me using recycled clothes. And the Goodwill Impact Center actually gifted me over 1,000 pounds of clothes, which is a lot of clothes. So this is a shout out to them, big thank you. That is actually one way of sourcing the materials I use. I go to thrift stores, and if I come across any item, I could be just walking down the road and see something that is of interest, and I take it home. I probably don't use it immediately. It probably stays there, and over time, I somehow incorporate it in the work. Okay, so my exhibition is going to be on the 18th of October on the 3rd floor here in the main gallery. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm working towards that feverishly. I told you about the 1,000 pounds of clothes that I have. I have an installation that I've done. And in addition to that installation, which involves a closet, I don't want to give away too much of it, but it involves me working with a closet, which has become a crime scene, to spark your interest. So make sure you come to the show. And I'm basically using the fabric in the raw to really create art, to make people see that it is fabric, and fabric can be used as art. Not fabric in the sense of just cloth, but clothes that you wear every day, that you see people wear. And also, a lot of this is about the environment. it's a recycled effort at one level, but especially when it relates to the clothes, it's wanting to make people realize that this, especially where it comes to the fast fashion, it's really in destroying the environment, and especially for what it's doing in the global south, these so-called developing countries that are so dependent on this clothing industry for their livelihood. But at the same time, when you really look behind the scenes at what it's doing to them, it's kind of really damaging. A big thank you to The Works, big thank you to Goodwill Industries, huge thank you to Harcourt House Artist Run Center. My career would not have got to the place that it's at now without this residency here at Harcourt House, and I'm truly thankful. I came to Edmonton a year ago, and in terms of what has happened in 1 year, it is unbelievable. Thank you all very much. Really, really appreciate it.